record, and I will welcome everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. I'm super excited. This is something I'm really excited to talk about as somebody who has been consistent on a health and fitness journey, but I've definitely had my ups and downs, my highs and lows. I've fallen off the wagon. The wagon has dragged me behind a little bit. I've got my foot run over by the wagon, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to talk about how to stop falling off of the health and fitness wagon. And if it's not something you struggle with, I'd be surprised. Most people do struggle with at least some aspect, either the nutrition or the fitness. But if it's not something you struggle with, it might help you understand better if you have somebody in your life that struggles with it. It might make you a little bit more kind of able to deal with it and help them. So I'm going to share my screen. I did a presentation. I don't know where it is though. Oh, there it is. Share screen. I have literally like 500 tabs open and I gotta find it. Oops, no, watch out. I think it's here. There we go. I do this PowerPoint online thing. It's really neat. Some child showed me this like hack. Okay, so stop falling off the wagon. Final. My new computer is a lot faster than my old. Okay, so here we are. How to stop falling off the health and fitness wagon. And I can't see anybody, so I'm not sure if you, hopefully you guys can hear everything. And I'm gonna just yap away here. So there are certain roadblocks or certain, hold on a second. I'm actually gonna minimize this. Okay, yeah, now I can see you guys. Can you guys hear me and see the slideshow okay? Yes? Okay, perfect. I just didn't want to go hide behind it and then you not be able to see. Okay, so there are certain common things that happen in any kind of health and fitness journey, whether you are, just trying to tone up, you're trying to clean up your eating, you are trying to, just get a little bit healthier, whatever. So to be able to actually figure out why you are falling off the wagon or how you're falling off the wagon, you kind of need to figure out what these roadblocks are. There's some typical roadblocks that most people struggle with. If you aren't one of those people, then there's probably at least one of them in here that you can relate to. So here's what happens. New beginnings and excitement. Whenever you start a new program or you make a decision to make a change, maybe you have the motivation of an event coming up, or you just had that, you looked at that picture of yourself and you're like, okay, I'm done. I need something to change in my life. So you start a workout program, or you make a commitment to yourself that you're gonna go on the treadmill so many times a day or a week, or that you're gonna walk. You're gonna stop eating after 7 o'clock. You're gonna follow Pinterest workouts. I'm describing myself actually before I started Beachbody. So I had all these ideas and these things that I was gonna do, and I usually lasted about 2 to 3 days. For whatever reason, things kind of deteriorated from that point. So at this point though, you can't wait to see the changes in yourself. Maybe it's a new program, a new meal plan, that kind of thing. And then you find something and that actually starts to work and you start to see results. Called that the honeymoon phase. But the fact is we have really short attention spans, and we want immediate results. So if you have, anything long-term health-wise for a goal that you want to reach, like maybe your goal is to lose like 100 pounds, or maybe your goal is to get a 6-pack of abs. Like regardless of what it is, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. But we kind of get into this mentality, if things don't happen really quickly right away with some kind of I can't think of the word, but immediate gratification to ourselves, then our interest starts to wane. And then all of a sudden we start to find it annoying that we're the only ones that are skipping dessert. or that we're bringing our healthy meals to things, or that on a Sunday we're prepping foods instead of just chilling on the couch, right? And it might be that we're just actually starting to fear real change for whatever reason. And I'm going to get into a little bit more about that. But it's also because we're really used to thinking with an all or nothing mentality. So one bad day, one bad meal, and it's all out the window. Or we have to be the picture of health to actually make this work, versus realizing that we are human, first of all, and things are going to happen that are going to set us back. But as long as we are always going forward, it's still working. Okay. So the other problem is we have unrealistic expectations. So I love this. If it was possible to drop a ton of weight in inches in a short time and keep it off forever, none of us would be here. Weight loss and the health industry and nutrition, like supplements, and oh my gosh, I can't even think, like Shape magazine, and all of these things would not be billion-dollar companies, and there wouldn't be this whole market of things, because there is no quick fix. Sustained weight loss and maintenance of your health takes time, it takes endurance, and it takes patience. And it is really, really hard to hear that, and it is really hard to process that, and it is really hard to be, alone, maybe in your health and fitness journey, and be thinking, I just really feel like this is too hard, and I feel like I'm doing it on my own. So whether you feel stressed about that, or you start to fear that true change, like what I was talking about, and how is it going to affect your life? Does it mean you're never going to have dessert again? Does it mean that you're going to have to work out 6 or 7 days a week always? Does it mean that, you're going to be the one that's going to skip the birthday cake all the time? Or maybe you're fearful that if you actually give it a go, you're going to be successful, and you're going to actually prefer eating well and exercising compared to how you used to live. And that's scary, because maybe how you related to your friends was going to a movie and dinner, or maybe how you spent your free time with your partner is by sitting on the couch at night watching TV and having a snack. Or maybe how you decompress from a day after a really hard day at work or a really hard day with your kids is by vegging and having a snack. It's like your reward for getting through the day, right? So that can all be really scary. So I think those are a lot of the things that kind of stand in our way. So how can we avoid them? How can we stop falling off the wagon? So how to turn a setback into a comeback. So tip 1, focus on the big picture. If you find yourself, skipping evening workouts because you're too tired, or you have, you feel like you have no energy, no time, you have a demanding job, you have a spouse, you have busy kids, they don't sleep, you feel like at the end of the day that there's just no energy left for you. But the truth is, life can be unpredictable. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are. So you have to allow for some wiggle room. You have to plan ahead for things like special occasions, and you have to include them in an overall plan. I know if you are not a person that likes to plan things, that can be difficult, but it really doesn't take a whole lot of effort to think, look, on Saturday, I have the kid's birthday party, or on Sunday, I have this bridal shower. I know that I'm not going to have complete control over my meals or my schedule that day, or maybe we're going away this weekend. And you're going to plan ahead, and you're going to work that into what you're doing. That's why they say this is a lifestyle. It's not something that, you do for 21 days and you're fixed and you don't have to do anything again. It's something that you can actually plan ahead, look at that big picture, look at the big picture of your life, and figure out, how am I going to make this work with my life and still reach my goals at the same time? And if you're somebody that's, often tired or overstressed, and you find that at the end of the day you're too tired to work out, or too tired to meal plan, or too tired to make a good dinner, 2 things. 1, seriously consider getting up earlier in the morning. I know it is really, really hard. I am not a morning person. It is actually my goal come September to become a morning person. I'm in pain just thinking about it, but I think it's going to be valuable. if you have to, for whatever reason, save it till the end of the day, just remember that energy breeds energy. And for us, like, as women, there's nothing, you know, that's going to help us more in every single aspect of our lives than feeling good and having more energy. So if that doesn't push you through, write it somewhere and stick it on a sticky note, write it on your forehead. Okay. Number 2, accept that healthy is a lifestyle. So this is so hard to hear. I know for, I'm going to just tell you from my own personal experience. When I started and I did my first round of 21 Day Fix, I was like, I was really fired up and I was like, I can do this. This is awesome. It's only 3 weeks. I can do this. I can get through this. I can make these sacrifices. I can push myself through these workouts. I can make this meal plan happen. And I got to the end of 21 days and I got a little bit panicky and I was like, well, what am I going to do after these 21 days? And then like the wheels started turning and then I'm like, oh my gosh, how many sets of 21 days am I going to have to do to lose the extra like 50, 60 pounds that I'm carrying around? And I had to say, okay, it's a marathon, not a sprint. That made me want to punch somebody in the face every time I heard it. But it is true. It is. You know, you can't just undo years worth of either mistreatment on your body, or just like if you're a stress eater or an emotional eater and you've kind of separated your eating from your emotions to kind of cope, it's really hard. That can't be undone in one night or overnight, right? So, and you can't just be healthy in 21-day increments. So you can't commit to the something like the 21-day fix or shift shop, do your 3 weeks, and then be like, oh, good, okay, so now I can gorge for a week. I am telling you this from my own experience. I would keep a list of the foods that I missed while I was on the fix and be like, I'm having this. Like I had 2 days in between my next round or something like that. And I was like, I'm having sushi, I'm having Doritos, I'm having prep dinner, I'm having blah, blah, like on and on with all these things that I quote unquote missed. Yeah, right. I got to like lunchtime and I wanted to throw up because first of all, if you were actually following the meal plan, you can't eat like that, everything in a day anyways. But I had to realize like I can't have that big day that is just crazy. Like, I mean, I get it if things kind of go on holidays or something that kind of get out of control and you don't have as much control of your food, but I couldn't plan for setting myself up for failure, if that makes sense. And I really had to break up with any resentment I had for this journey. So for me, a big bone of contention was that my husband was not doing the same thing I was doing. And, you know, he would come home with chips or here's your Valentine's present. It's a pound Reese's peanut butter cup, a pound. I was like, why would you do this to me? And give it to me. I'm going to eat it right now, all of it, and feel terrible because that's what I do with a pound Reese's peanut butter cup. I eat the whole thing. It was delicious. And then I wanted to die and I hated it. So no, but seriously, like I had to get over that he wasn't on the same, he didn't have the same goals as me for his nutrition and his workouts. Mind you, he has come a long way. And he is much more supportive and much more cooperative now. But I used to blame him and be like, well, of course I can't do this because he's not doing it. And I have this person in my house that isn't doing it. So how can I do this? You know, I just started making my own meals and that kind of thing. So you got to make this a true habit. And I know it's scary, but if you can make like these little tweaks in your mind, it's not going to make it something that feels like punishment. Okay. You can do this. So it just says, all right, sweetheart, let's be realistic. You can't drop 2 jean sizes in one day. You won't lose 100 pounds in a week. You will binge. You will go a day or maybe even 2 without working out. Your weight will change throughout the day. You will try new things that won't work. You will cry. You will want to give up, but you're only human. So tip 3, figure out your triggers. If you are somebody that is consistently stopping and starting, you know, meal plans or workout programs, you need to figure out what's holding you back. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. What is holding you back? Is your schedule working against you? So are you getting enough sleep? You can't underestimate the power of actually resting your body for making proper nutritional choices. or pushing your hardest in your workouts. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you are all day long, you're probably craving stuff because your brain isn't in tune with your body. It's tired. You're not taking the regular cues from your brain that say, no, you're not actually hungry, you're just bored, or no, you're not actually hungry, you're just sad. And then when you do a workout, when you're actually mentally exhausted and your body's physically exhausted, you just can't push yourself. So you might spend 45 minutes to an hour working out, and it might be, you may as well have done 20 minutes because you're just not physically able to work out like you should be able to. Look for patterns in your life that are triggers, and then disrupt them once you find them. So for example, periods or weekends or emotional highs and lows or changes in routine. The best way to do this is to keep a journal or a calendar of some sorts. If it's like a cycle thing, a calendar would probably be helpful. But if you keep a journal, and this sounds like a lot of work, but if this is something that you're really struggling with and you really want to make some progress on it. If you know that when you are tired, or maybe around the stress of the holidays, you know that life is a little bit more hectic for you and you tend to eat to deal with that, or maybe you miss out on exercise because you just feel so overwhelmed and busy. So instead of just saying, okay, if I just take this 25 or 30 minutes and do this, I'm going to be a lot more clear. You need to figure out, like, what are these dates? What are these things? What are these things in your life that are making you want to do bad stuff with bad carbs or miss your exercises or workouts? And you're just going to kind of match the mood to what you want or what you don't want. So I don't want to exercise because I feel sad today. Or I wanted to eat a giant Toblerone because my husband and I got in a fight, or this or that. So if you can start to pair those things, it's going to help you understand what your kind of relationship is with food and with exercise, because we have been raised to not necessarily have the healthiest relationship with food or exercise. It's not anybody's fault, but the generations before us it was different. I've talked about this before, but gym class, if you weren't maybe an athlete, could have been really stressful. So maybe you have a negative association with exercise. Food, maybe you were rewarded with food. I feel like most people do reward their kids with food without even meaning to it. Oh, you got an A on your report card, let's go for Dairy Queen. It's just how it happens, and it's not anybody trying to create these bad habits, but it makes this association, right? So okay, tip 4, be realistic. So accept your weaknesses. Do you know you are a stress eater? So if you find, like I was saying, if you find certain events stressful, plan ahead. Figure out what you're eating that day. Drink your Shakeology before you go to this event. Exercise before you go to this event. It will help you cope with this stressful event better. You need to set short-term, realistic goals for yourself every single week and month. So I know we kind of talk about, especially when we first start, right? We talk about what kind of goals we have for the month. We maybe don't break it down into every single week, but we should be, because people are reward driven, and we need this. So even if at your own house, you write down your goals and you share them with your spouse, or you share them with a group, the accountability or group you're in, things like so maybe you have I know we have a lot of teachers, so say during report card time, you're like, my goal this week is to do a minimum of 5 workouts this week. That is a big thing during report card time, right? Or maybe my goal for this week is not putting any cream in my coffee. You're not gonna stop your coffee habit in a week, but maybe you're not going to put cream in, or maybe you're not going to put 5 creams in. Maybe you're only going to put 1, or maybe you're going to put some almond milk in it instead or something, right? I'm going to eat a salad every day. So for some of our veggie lovers, that's not a bad goal to have. I did not like salads. I was like, no, I don't eat salads. But the Shift Shop meal plan kind of got me to be like, oh, actually there's some foods that I can actually make at home. Because I used to think, oh yeah, salads are good when you're out because they have all this stuff. But then I found, if I do the right combination of foods, it's actually quite delightful. And it's a great way to get in my greens. So, or maybe your goal for that week is to do 5 push-ups unmodified. It really doesn't matter what your goal is, but your goal can't be like, I just started my first workout and I want abs by the end of the first week. Like, we're just setting ourselves up for failure if we do that. So fall 7 times, get up 8. That's what it says. Tip 5, celebrate your successes. I love this quote at the side. It just says, don't wait until you've reached your goal to be proud of yourself. Be proud of every step you take toward reaching that goal. So like I said before, we do really well with setting and achieving goals. You have to kind of make this mindset shift, that instead of feeling like a failure if you fall off your meal plan, you have to have a conversation with yourself, and you have to say, it's okay. I'm a work in progress. Here's how I'm going to deal with this from here on. So a really bad habit of mine was I had a bad lunch. We were out, whatever. We couldn't find a healthy choice. I just didn't want to find a healthy choice, I'll be honest. So then it was like, well, we might as well take out for dinner because that day's blown. And then it was like, these addictive foods are so yummy and delicious. Let's have it again the next day. And it spiraled for me. So one day instead of being like, no, I ate a really crappy lunch, I need to make a good dinner. I need to make the effort to make a good dinner. Your non-scale victory focus. So things like not modifying moves, or following a meal plan and feeling great, finishing a program. You need to stop when you do these things, and you need to pause and celebrate, because that's not 70% of people that start a fitness program don't finish it. It's a big deal when you do it. So get your free t-shirt, and then reward yourself with something that's not food related, because that is very, very, very common for us who like food. Be like, okay, I made it through it. Gonna have that Toblerone I bought at Shoppers Drug Mart on 50% off. That's my reward. I'm like, okay, let's reevaluate. What else could I do instead of feeling like this is my reward for eating healthy and working out like I should be doing? And share your successes. Share your successes in the group. Share your successes if you're comfortable with it. You don't have to be sharing your before and afters, but share your, hey, I threw out 5 bags of clothes that don't fit me anymore. Or, hey, I actually ate 3 salads and 4 vegetables last week. I'm not picking on you, Ashley, I promise. But I mean, share it, because that was one of the big driving forces into getting me into coaching. Was I was like, the more I put myself out there, the more I feel accountable to actually keep doing this. And I have said this a gazillion times. If I didn't start coaching, I probably would have quit a long time ago, because I wouldn't have had people, like amazing people that were like, I'm struggling too. I need help. You're doing it. I can do it. And I'm like, oh shoot. Okay. That means I got to be doing it too. Okay. I'm doing it. So, putting it out there, even just with your friends, coworkers, that kind of thing, your spouse. Tip 6, understand that being healthy is hard work. So I think that we all assume when we see people that kind of have it under control, or they look like they have it under control, that they've got it all figured out. Exercise is easy for them, and eating well is just easy for them. I know so many super fit people from doing this now, right? It's not true. It is still a struggle. They either struggle with sugar, or they struggle with getting workouts in. Maybe they've got the whole eating plan thing really figured out, but they're not working out. Or maybe they're like me and they can work out 7 days a week, but then they're like, Toblerone, chocolate, whatever. And it's like, I can't focus. So there is always something that they struggle with in this, even if they have a 6-pack, even if they have beautiful arms, whatever, there is some struggle. So the difference between those people and us people who fall off the wagon or have a hard time getting back on is that when they fall off, they get right back on, if that makes sense. So expect tough times when you're bored with your meal plan and you feel like rebelling. Expect to resent your workouts once in a while when you don't feel like working out that day. And expect outside forces and people to not always support you and not understand your journey. One of my favorite quotes is, they don't have to understand your journey. It's not for them. And it's true, because you're going to get the peanut gallery no matter what you're doing. You could be Autumn Calabrese with her crazy awesome bod and all her success, and people are still like, look at the bags under her eyes. Oh my God, guys, did you see her without her makeup on? And it's like, come on, haters gonna hate. So just understand that it is hard work, but it's worth it. It's worth it if you know what your goals are. Like, I don't want to be like, it's worth it to do all this. But if you have certain goals and you have made that commitment to yourself, it is worth it to keep going for that. Tip 7. So lean on a strong support system. That is the beauty of all things Beachbody Challenge Group. I'm sure everybody on here can attest to the power of the challenge group. Like, you have the nutrition, you have the exercise, but without any kind of accountability or support, it's like, well, it can just get dusty on my shelf, or, oh, my annual BOD membership just lapsed. I totally forgot I even had it. Like, that's what happens. And I know that it can be overwhelming to get notifications from groups. And I know that it can be stressful when you are not feeling your best to see other people succeeding at it, or to see them maybe getting ahead a little bit further than you are or faster than you are. But that is when it is so important not to hide. It's so important not to bow out of the group on those months, because trying to do it on your own is, I'm just going to say, it's pretty much impossible. I don't really know. I'm sure there are special snowflakes out there that can do it on their own. But for the majority of us, together is so much better. Like, on those crappy days, you come to the group, you own it, you say, look, everything totally went off the rails today, but I'm writing here as a commitment that tomorrow I'm going to get my crap together. I'm going to get my workout in. Look, here's my workout closer out. I'm going to figure out what we're having for dinner all this week. And then all of a sudden, you're just kind of going again. So every single month, like I said, share your goals, your commitment to get healthier and stronger with your friends, with your family, with your fit family. Maybe your friends and family aren't ready to hear it. That's okay. That's why you have us, right? Participate in your challenge group, even if you're struggling. Like I said, don't hide. And then work on your emotional well-being. Oh my goodness. This took me a long time to clue into. There's very little. My new saying is, like, I exercise for sanity, not vanity. And now I'm trying to eat and readjust that food is for fuel. But I have a lot of other stuff. So I've kind of got that under control, but my house is a mess. And sometimes I ignore Christopher. It's my husband, for anybody that doesn't know. Or sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit checked out with my kids, or I yell at them, or whatever. Like, all these things in my life that aren't perfect, that I can kind of work on my inside as well as my outside from food and nutrition. But like, listening to inspiring or uplifting books or podcasts or videos, there's awesome things on YouTube. Cassandra has found tons of them that she's shared before. Just listening to, reading something that feels good for your soul. It sounds hokey, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, I started doing those daily blessings, that I'm just keeping a notebook beside my bed with a pen. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm writing 3 things I'm thankful for. So probably from the day before, or whatever, something that's coming up that I'm thankful for. And I'm writing down 3 things that happened at night before I go to bed. So before I go to bed, I'm thinking positively, I'm being thankful. As soon as I get up in the morning, before I check my news feed, before I check my messages, before I check my email, before I see all the terrible things that are happening in the world, I'm saying 3 things that I'm thankful for, so that I can go into the day armed with, like, gratitude. Because I don't think you can be happy without gratitude. So yeah, and yeah, that's what I've taken from that. So like I said too, keep a food journal. If you are a really big emotional eater, having a food journal and pairing your emotions with foods, so you can see what triggers you and how to stop it, is going to be a really, really powerful tool. So that, I believe, is the end of the slideshow. I'm going to stop sharing, and I am going to stop recording. Wow, there's so many buttons.